to the city streets, we began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laugh so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Good afternoon. Or good morning, of course, if you're in the US. But good afternoon here to Central European time. It is almost 2 p.m. here. It is 1:53 p.m. To be more exact here in the Netherlands right now. And good morning, Susan. Absolutely wonderful to see you. I am definitely looking out to hang out with you guys today. And I haven't progressed on the beanie since last time because we kind of made this agreement, or at least my idea was, that I am only to work on the beanie when I am live. So this is a project that we will only finish together. So this is how we are looking. And hopefully we can finish this off together. So yeah, I haven't done anything. We still only finished that first row of repeating pattern, which is basically a bunch of stitches crocheted together. I'm just going to see how this is gonna trickle further down. But I think it should be pretty simple. So what we do need to do is getting the whole camera changed around. And then I need to keep track of, but I think the following row should actually be pretty simple because that should just be some double crochets and then the crocheting two together, and then you would work around the previous post, which is the slanted post we have to make a little bit loose. But I will just need to quickly check up on that first. So what we first will do is I should have this dual camera view set up so that you can still see my pretty face up in the run corner. And then we will take the normal center camera there and we will flip it down. And I am good wrapped up today. And it's crazy because it's not like it's extremely cold here in the Netherlands today, but somehow it does really feel like super cold. I can't really explain how come that is. We can check the weather, but it's probably because it's just gray and windy outside. Um, that is what I'm expecting it to be because it is like, so I wrapped myself up in a blanket. I have next to room nice warm poncho on here. It's 55 degrees Fahrenheit, so or 56 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's about 30 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from south-southwest at 15 miles per hour, or about 24 kilometers per hour, and the current humidity is 67. It was raining earlier today. Hello, Susanna. Good afternoon, evening, actually. I guess it's evening there down under. And it's getting warmer in the States as well. Yeah, it is getting warmer here. Next week it should get colder again. I'm just quickly checking the weather forecast, but if I'm not wrong, yeah, like from Thursday it's gonna cool down a bit, but it is really getting into spring, which is really nice. I can also see it on the garden outdoor. Like my tulips are getting out of the ground, so that's kind of like wonderful. Almost 9 p.m. in Perth. Almost 9 p.m. in Perth. It's wonderful to see you too. I am trying to do these evening sessions here. If everything goes well, I will be around as well on Wednesday. Everything right now kind of depends on how things are going. So weather for Perth conditions are 7 degrees Fahrenheit, so 21 degrees Celsius, wind is blowing from south-southwest at 10 miles per hour. Current humidity is 72. So it's a bit more humid than here, definitely nice and warm. I'd trade you. 21 degrees sounds wonderful. It absolutely sounds wonderful. I'd love to have 21 degrees Celsius right now. I definitely do. Let's see. So what is the exact? Maybe. Now I'm just worried if I did actually not finish the round correctly. So I just need to check that. But somehow I get all these lovely ads right now. I may be a little bit running for that. So I need to make sure. My idea is to slip stitch, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. So I did finish it wrong. Wonderful. I need to frog this absolutely horrid yarn. Uh, oh, I did it correct, maybe. Let's see. So, the real challenge with this yarn is the fluffiness of it, and it really just does not want to get frogged. Let's just talk about the yarn for those that is new to this. It is the Seaman Como that I'm using. The Seaman Como is an what should I call it? Not a natural yarn in the sense of it is a synthetic. It is 39% acrylic, 55% polyamide, and 26% polyester. 100 grams to 310 meters, so it is a DK weight yarn, and it has this wonderful fluff. And as you can see, we have this sparkly thing. This is the full skein that I'm working on. I have it on my yarn spindle here just to make my life a bit easier. Because this is a yarn that if you would want to do a center pull of it, I'm afraid it would be a lot of yarn bath, especially because it can tangle a bit due to the fluff. So I'm kind of intentionally trying not to get the fluff there. Yeah, thank you, Susanna. Well, that was a recent idea and it seems to be working okay. So ideally, I would rather have had a view from like this angle and not from this angle, but I just don't have the setup here to have that decently. Um, because that would have been even more nice if you could actually physically see. So now it's more like as if you were sitting across me on the other side of my table. Um, which I guess is cozy enough as well, right? Hopefully. So let's just quickly see what it says here. I need to work the 2 double crochet stitches together. Ah, I see where I made the mistake actually, because I did work that last double crochet together into the slip stitch. I should have known better. Then we will have to slant it over. And a little yarn. It's set other way last time around. Flip it around. Actually, so I did it correct. Hallelujah. So we chain one to create a little bit of height. Just need to see. We have 2 double crochets together, and that is, yeah. How did I do that? Well, it just looked a bit funny, but it was actually correct. Yep. So we will then cross back to this long one. Then it's time for me to catch up on that chat, because you are some active ladies chit-chatting. So let's see, that was here. So Susanna says, working on a scarf with polyester wool mohair, tiny sequins. I have to get gently barely whole when knitting, otherwise strands push apart, and it's actually been less painful for my hand also. Yeah, so it's just a pain to frog this yarn. It's actually quite okay to work with, but I have to say I have to pay a little bit attention for this pattern. It is the Spirograph Beanie designed by a Bag-O-Day Crochet. And I am just doing my best to follow the guidelines. But I have to say, my conclusion has been that this is a little bit smaller than I thought the outcome would be. And why is that? I don't know. That is something I don't know the answer to. So basically, it's like it is nice and it's slanting around here slowly but securely. So it's like 2 double crochets, then you work 2 double crochets together, and then you work in this angled front post double crochet, but you have to do it in the previous front post double crochet, so not the one just below, but the one like below just across. Let's see. So that would be, so I'm all the way over here when I need to proceed working. So one needs to really pay attention on the stitches that you do work in, but at the same time, it is pretty simple to get to. Meanwhile, life has been a bit crazy, as it always is here. I am. We finished moving my mom-in-law, which is really really nice. One job done, one less to worry about. Um, I'll be heading on a sort of business trip ish thing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to Germany. So I'll bring a crochet project with me. I just heard when we are going to leave Thursday, because we're actually gonna go Friday morning, but now it's gonna be like in the middle of the night. So I would say it's like Thursday night on Friday. which I would not exactly say I was happy to hear the time, but that's how it is. I really need to get used to working this. Um, so that's one thing, and then I have to admit I'm not sure how all the streaming will be ongoing because there are a few unknown aspects, unfortunately, in my life right now. Um, Also aspects that does make it so that um, anything related to a job is not my highest priority. It is something that is likely causing me to travel more to Denmark the coming time for my family, as my mother is not being very well. And I've had some days to digest this, and I think I will apologize already should I end up crying. But I think I can manage to talk about it now without instantly shedding tears. Um, my mom has unfortunately been diagnosed with something that is not benign. So she has a tumor in her lung, and they are doing all sorts of tests right now to see if treatment is possible, in that case, what kind of treatment, and so on. So it's a bit crap, to be honest. Um, we shall look at the positive sides. If this is going to be me going to Denmark at least once a month, or maybe it has to be a period where we'll have to stay there longer. The hospital treating her is actually a 20 minutes walk from the local hobby. We need to look at something positive, right? There are positive things in life, and my mom is in good spirits given the condition. Um, what scares me is the fact that they have really removed a lot of moist from her lungs, um, and she has new, so she's probably got a new drainage by now, I do hope. And we're just waiting on a lot of tests. Today she had a biopsy done, and on a Wednesday she will have a PET scan, and it's just waiting. And the thing is, one can say, and a part of me really feel like I'm at the wrong place right now, like I should be in Denmark. But the thing is, I could go to Denmark, but what does it really help me? Because we're just waiting on tests. So we are talking, we are writing daily to one another, saying, hello, how are you? How was, how was your night? Um, I get updates, etc., but I can't really do anything. So I do have a travel planned on the 12th of March. I will be flying to Denmark. And until we really don't know what plans the hospital have for her treatment, it's limited what I really can do in any case before that time. And then, depending on what the prognosis are and the treatment plans, etc., I will probably be traveling back and forth quite a bit. And then, obviously, you all ladies understand, everybody understands it's normal in life. Family is just and will always be the more important thing. So I will then not be able to guarantee my weekly streams. That will depend on when I'm home, and what's going on and everything like that. But it is going to be a really horrible, rough time. But I am trying to keep optimistic, and I am really happy when I have been talking with my mom. She seems like she's in good spirits. Um, but there has been so many things related to this process where we are not happy. Um, yeah, hobby will probably be my yarn therapy, because if I will go there, why not just drop by the store? I could even bring her some yarn if she needs something for entertainment, right? Um, but it's the least of the worries right now. It just sucks totally. So um a while ago, more than a year ago, she was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. Sarcoidosis is an autoimmune disease that's usually attacking your lungs, and can give you a lot of cough and so on. And in last autumn, in September, she had a CT scan, and some tests just to figure out like what sort of treatment she should have for the sarcoidosis. Usually here the treatment is a prednisone cure for X amount of time, and that should usually over time also make you better. So the thing is that my mom then called and said she um, she didn't feel that much better, and then they were like, oh, she have to have a longer cure, and then um, then that like it probably been worse than what we first anticipated. So the reason that you're not feeling, so she started feeling a bit better, and then she felt worse again, and they were like, okay, we have to prolong the cure, or the treatment. And then in January she was like feeling extremely unwell. Actually, she felt so unwell she canceled their. They were supposed to come here in January to visit me for my birthday, and they canceled the travel here. And then because she was feeling unwell, which I totally understand. And then she had called the doctors again and said, I really don't feel very well. And then, the doctors were like, okay. And they looked at the CT scan again from September and realized there was sitting something quite close to the collarbone in the lungs that should not be there. So she was called back for a new CT scan, and that was about 2 weeks ago. And that's when the whole damn drama mill started. And the thing is, the hospital has admitted that somebody made a mistake because they were supposed to have seen it in September already. But, she's first here in February gotten on this trajectory for figuring out what's actually going on. And right now, what they are doing is they have to grow the biopsy to see, um, basically, to see what sort of. There are so many types, right? Um, of tumors, and they have to see what sort of it is it aggressive one or a less aggressive one, and what is the possible treatments, locations. The PET scan is to check if there are um, metastasis found in the body and so on. And it's a little bit like it's a big bill. And I could go to Denmark and sit there right now, but honestly I'll be holding her hand and just being with her, which is nice on its own, of course, but it's just waiting. We're just waiting on results right now. So yeah. Um, my dad is there too. He also goes and visits her daily. Um, it sounds a bit crazy right now. I'm more concerned for my dad than I am for my mom. I see that she just texted me. Just give me a moment. Uh, okay. So far, she still stays at the hospital. She has been hospitalized because she passed out for one of the tests Monday before she even got in there because she had an infection and had fever and liquid in her lungs. So they drained it again, and now they found new liquid, and it's like, ooh, it's a mess. So yeah, it's yeah, it's a bit of a mess. She feels fit, and I've communicated with her and I said, unless you tell me that it's urgent, I have to be there, I will wait, and then I'll be there when I come in March. And in March, we will do lots of common talks and conversations. Um, there's many things we need to discuss when I'm there because there's just so many things to, yeah. In like we need to get a lot of things covered. I think that's just it. Like it's going to be a lot, and she will likely, would be my assessment, be in treatment by then. Um, and we will have to see where it takes us and how and whatnot. Um, we are waiting for the judgment basically of the doctors, and the worst they could tell me would be that there is nothing to do, which I hope is really not the case. I hope there is something they can do and that there are no further spreads. But right now it's just patience. And the world is so unfair because I know I know that Amanda mentioned it yesterday. You know, it's always the good people that goes too soon. Um, and that is the case. It is often the good people that goes too soon. She's worked for 45 years by the same company. She got a coin from the king for her many years of service because she's always been loyal to her employment place. She's only ever been sick because of being sick, so to say, um like if she had the flu and she had a high fever, she would not go to work, stuff like that. And now she finally retired last year in February. And and now this, like I think the world is so unfair because she was supposed to enjoy her retirement. Now instead she's just going to go through this whole mill of investigations and treatments and all whatnot. So yeah, it feels unfair, if that makes sense. It feels so unfair. Um, I see Susan prays for me. Susanna says it will be good for your dad to have you to talk to when you do go there. Yeah, my dad will definitely also need me. Um, he will. He's a wreck right now. Um, I'm surprised that I only have moist eyes and I'm not directly crying. But it's probably also because I've had time to kind of get used to the thoughts. There has been different news from the doctors so far, and mostly we're just waiting. It's a waiting game. We can't do much right now. I understand the biopsy went well this morning. Now it's just a waiting game for them to grow it and figure out what type it is. Good morning, Debbie. Debbie Grabbert. I think it's the first time I see you with me here on this live, so very welcome to you. This is basically me being live, crocheting, chatting with everybody who's in here. Want to say hello? Talking a bit about life in general, talking about yarn, talking about crochet. Um, Talking about unfairness in life. um, and this part definitely seems extremely unfair, right? So, but yeah, it's what it is, and yeah. So due to life right now, there might be some inconsistencies in when I'm live and when I'm posting videos and so on, because that will 100% depend on stuff. There are so many more things that is more important. And yes, this is probably the reason I didn't find the right job. And I'm fine with it. I talked with my partner about it and I said, hey, honey, I know I'm supposed to find a job, or well, it would be good for me to find a job, but we both agree right now that there are so many more important things in life, and I can afford not having one right now. Not saying that I necessarily want to go permanently without, because that is not what I'm saying. But right now, there's just so many more important things. Um, there are other people that I do have obligations to, and I've told them as well, please know that it could be that I cannot meet all of my obligations because my family right now is just so much more important than anything else. Um, so I will be heading off to Denmark in 3 weeks. Um, Wednesday, so in 2 days, 3 weeks time, 23 days, bit less. Time really flies. Um, and I will be there for 5. That's the original plan. And then as soon as we know what the plan is for treatment, that is when I will start making plans for going back and forth, because I can't temporarily, like, if it's the very worst case scenario, I could option to say, okay, I'm just gonna stay in Denmark for the time being. And then once in a while go back. Need to figure out how I'll do that with yarn, because I'll definitely need a lot of yarn with me. Because there will be lots of waiting time, right? So I'll need to make sure I have something to work with. Well, that's another story. So I had all these wonderful plans, and they have kind of gotten sidetracked the last. We had a feeling this was what it was gonna be when it all started 2 weeks ago, but it wasn't confirmed. It's first really been confirmed last week that it's not good. Yeah, family first. Absolutely. Family will always be first. Susanna says, go there with an empty suitcase and come back with it full of yarn. Well, I'm afraid I don't have the budget to do that. Because I've plenty of yarn upstairs, so it'd probably be me bringing yarn with me. But I could easily go there if I need to pick up something. I don't need to pay for shipping. But in Denmark, I will have to pay 4% more in value added taxes, which is something I don't in the Netherlands. Like in the Netherlands, I pay 21%, and in Denmark, I pay 25%. So overall, I'm not sure if the prices will be beneficial. I will have to do some math on it. I will really have to do some math on that. I had this great plan of setting up a web store to sell some of my makes. But yeah, those thoughts has also been postponed a little bit. Again, depending on what everything is gonna happen. The idea could be to still do it and then just simply note clearly down ship dates. Like, so if I know when I'm in the Netherlands to ship things, because it's cheaper to ship from Denmark, from the Netherlands than it is from Denmark, trust me. It costs like 2 to 3 times as much to ship something in Denmark than it does in the Netherlands. It's still not cheap, but and then I'll just be like, next shipping day will be then, so people will know in case that they do make an order. So that is all thoughts I've been fiddling with. But there's, as I said, so many things that's also postponed just because there's so many unknowns. I might snack some specials. Yeah, that could be. That could be. Well, what I do want to do if I end up, if well, let's put it like this. I am definitely gonna be more in Denmark the coming time than I had planned. I'm just sorry about the reason for it having to be, and it is, as I said, the hobby in Roskilde is about 15 minutes walk, maybe 10, 15 minutes walk from the central train station. And the hospital is on the other side of the train station. So it's like a 20 minutes walk between, roughly, give or take, depending on where at the hospital. It's pretty big. It's a university hospital of the island, of the region. And I'm expecting that she will have to spend quite some time there, because that is where the lung specialists are. Yeah, so if I go to the hobby store, I will see if I can get some recording for you ladies, and I'll make some video on that. I could always do that, right? That would be a nice one. Who knows? Maybe I can do several. um, Valid, valid, Suzanne. Susanna says, if I do end up staying longer in Denmark, I may have to purchase yarn as my stash would be back home, which is true, but I would probably also bring some of my stash with me. In that event, I will probably do more. I'd probably take some cakes with me and do shawls and stuff like that, because it's a bit thinner yarn and it takes a bit more time to work up. So that is probably more likely what I will do. I do have a video of one of my Denmark visits. That's back from August 2023. I do have that. Let's see, where are you? I need to pick up it here, so just a moment. There you are. Well, that's just a short visit, not very long, or a short video, but it's not from Hobby itself. It's just from a small local store, and a little visit, some nature, not far from where my parents live. Yeah. So yeah, things could be better, I guess we should say. We are progressing nicely and slowly on this, but if I see how long time this takes me to make a round, I don't even know if I'll be finished with this beanie on Wednesday. Damn. And as I said, it does seem to work up smaller than being able to fit my head. But I did bring my mannequin with me. It is sitting right next to me on the bench. Oh shit, I was supposed to work two together here. So we'll do that. My head mannequin is sitting next to me on the bench because my head mannequin has a little bit smaller head than I do. It's right here. A bit long neck, but that's a detail. So he would be right down here for those wanting to say hello. Now he's on the table next to me. I also have tea. We did not even talk about tea at all, but I do have tea. Today's tea is Droomvlucht. Droomvlucht is a loose tea blend from Nijmegen. It's a black tea blend with it has strawberry petal leaves, like dry strawberry leaves, and it has cornflower leaves, sunflower leaves, saffron. So it's like it's a fresh tea, but it's not fruity sweet, but it's nice. And now it's cooled down enough for me to actually call it drinkable. Half an hour ago I would have burnt my tongue. I just made it when I finished the tea 5 minutes before I started live. So there is that, I guess. Last week I also got all of the materials for me to try to make my own buttons, because I want to make myself a vest. And it has buttons, and I think it would be cooler to make my own rather than to buy them. So that's also a project I have lined up for myself. But I have to say, I'm not also quite sure when I will start that project based on everything else. So right now I only have 3 active projects, and I'm actually only working on 2 of them, and I haven't had time to crochet at all last weekend. or this past weekend, because I've been busy rehoming on my mom-in-law. She needs to get used to a lot less space, but we got all of the massive things moved, which is really nice. Now it's just getting some furniture, extra furniture pieces um, amongst things. That is what she needs. She also threw out a bunch of furnitures. Simply due to not enough room, and she has a few things she still wants to get, like she wants to get a new couch, and then some different, like a different table for like next to the couch. What do we call it? A couch table? Sounds a bit funky. Living room table, but not for dinner. She wants to do that. We need some shelves for her toilet. So there's a few small things here and there we need to get done. Which is something I'll do on the side of everything else that's been going on. So yeah, I've I've not really had time to do much, and then my thoughts been running all over the place as well, of course, which is totally understandable. But I guess so far I'm just happy they keep her until tomorrow, just in case. With the liquids and everything else. Hope it's not too much, but I will hear later. She got new drainage in. But yeah, so the goal is, of course, to finish this beanie, but I'm not sure if it's gonna happen today. Simply because obviously this is taking a lot longer with a DK weight yarn than with a non-DK weight yarn, but that's okay, I guess. I do like the colors we have going on here. Actually, I have a different yarn upstairs in my stash. That's exactly the same yarn, but it's blue and green. I had that yarn planned for a sweater because I have enough of it to do that. I also have more of this, but that's caked up and then it's ice. It's an ice cake. And this Como from the Seaman I did not get from ice, but I think, that's a funny thing is because this is a skein, but the exact same yarn, colorway, etc., comparing them was caked up from ice. That's a bit funny. Don't know why, but that is indeed a bit funny. Let's see, we are getting there because this goes across there. So this would be the starting point. Okay, we have 2 more sections. And then my second round of the repeat has been complete. I'm actually not sure how long I'm supposed to go here, but this is the repeat until I guess I'll just have to measure it. I do have my measuring tape laying here, so we can measure it when we get there. And then that starts there, so I need to work. This is the last piece of the repeat. So we're talking about 2 double crochets, and then the next 2 stitches you do the 2 double crochets together, so you actually just have 3 technically speaking, and then you work in 1 more as a slant. Now I just need to actually check that I do this one correctly. No, that was not completely right. We'll try again. Just one moment. That is not easy to see here. There it is. Then we have to slant this all the way back over here. And then we can slip stitch in the very top of this one. There we go. A round completes. Hallelujah. One round completes. This is where we are. It's not really shaping up nicely yet. It will get better as we get more rows to it. But yeah, 2 rows. Done. Looks funky on the inside. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm expecting. Susan says it will take shape when you add more rounds. So that is basically what it's all about right now. It's just adding rows until it's enough. Because the challenge is, of course, also that it is different yarn. Yeah, it's a little bit, the beginning is a little bit funky. Good morning, Gwen. Wonderful to see you. So yeah, right now it's just basically me doing a bunch of repeats. So I just did the double crochet together. We need to do loosely into that front post. 2 double crochets, 2 double crochets together, a loose front post double crochet in the front post double crochet of the previous row, but to the right, so to say. And that's how you get this slanted feeling. It's a nice simple design. But because it's worked up in a DK weight yarn, it's taking a bit of patience because it takes longer because the yarn is thinner. Then I'm sometimes when I'm sitting with this yarn wondering, how can I be so patient to work with the thin yarns? I do not know. But apparently I do have patience. Who would have thought? If you told my partner that I had patience, he would laugh. I'm not normally, in that sense, a patient person. I've become more patient with the years, definitely. I'm definitely gotten more patient with the years. So, Mama Gwen, did you grab yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, maybe a project hanging out with us this morning? And what are the rest of you ladies working on? Like we agreed, I'm just supposed to go live every until I finish this. So that is my current goal. And if we don't finish this one today, which I'm not sure of, because it's like I see how long time it's gone already and how long time I have and so on. I'll continue on Wednesday. I'll be live again Wednesday and we'll continue there. We keep continuing until this one is finished. I also did set up a poll for my channel to help picking the next project after I've finished blocking and sewing together the butterfly migration poncho. And so far it looks like I'm possibly going to make another poncho. At least that was how it looked last time I checked. Let's check what it says now. It still says the Sweet Martine poncho in a fuchsia lilac color. Or the water pearl shawl in turquoise, but the poncho still has more votes. For those being curious, that would be on my community tab on my channel. If you feel like you want to influence my next big project from drops, then that is a poll for you to go and put a vote in on. I'd be happy for your input. And then we will see how it goes, basically. But yeah, so far it looks like it's going to be another poncho. Actually, one of my favorite ponchos that I'm literally wearing every day is getting worn out. I'm debating on if I should take the measurements of it for another just random project for whenever I have time and then just do it, like make up my own. Not follow the pattern, but just work it up because I want to. Because it's slowly getting to, and the poncho, it'd be valid enough to say, I love this poncho. It's just quite warm because it has this cowl. But my other poncho does not have a cowl, and it's really nice because it does cover a bit more arm. Like when I'm sitting here, it would go a bit further down, which this is not bad, but the other one just covers more arm, and that's nicer if you have a bit tendency of cold arms. And it's slowly starting to get holes, and it's just getting worn out. when you use things, they get worn out. And I am the type that tends to use my things until they are broken and can no longer be redeemed, so to say. Like, there is this culture just for buying new things, and for the sake of buying them. New things are nice, but there is a difference. Are they nice or are they need to have? And I tend to be the type of person that would rather use it until it's seen its end of the days. Like a good example here could be my phone. My last phone lasted 4 years before me replacing it. And these days, people seem to use the same phone for maybe a year and then they buy a new one because a new model was released by the company. Um, and that is, I get companies need to constantly design new things, but it is a consumer behavior that I am not favorizing, if that makes sense. I like the idea of being able to use things. It's much better for the earth, I think. Use things until they're dead, done, finished. It's like a car. At the same time, there is more economy in these days to get a car and have it for 5 to 6 years and then replace it than there is to, that is, if you do borrow the money to get a new one and if you want to get some money back from when you're selling it and so on. So there are many different aspects of this because at the same time, why would you want to have debts if you can prevent it? Or if you should have debt, the only debt should be in your home. So it really wants to curl the wrong way around. So I guess we just need to wait for it to get long enough for it to curl the right way around. I need to be patient. I'm definitely not a singer. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them. I will be more than happy to answer them. I definitely would. That is why I'm here. And because I think it's really nice to hang out with you guys while crocheting. It just adds this extra feeling of being social, I think. Hello, dust bunnies, and welcome to this live. I understand you are from Denmark. Now I'm going to tell you something. I'm a Danish native, so I am from Denmark, but I live in the Netherlands. So, hi would be the very plain Danish word for hello. But yeah, I am actually a Danish native. So that's a bit funny. I think you're the first, if we look away from my mom, you are the first Dane I think I've had visiting here me on this channel. So hello, hello, hello. I option to do all this in English, obviously, because the world is there is a better chance to get more friends if you do the English way. And I've been speaking English for so many years of my life, like last 30 maybe, slowly. And I've traveled a lot. Actually, one of my friends told me, and that's no longer than 3 weeks ago, and he's actually from the UK, and he's like, Stine, you should like there's no doubt you're probably one of the best foreigners I know speaking English. Like, so you should not be ashamed of your English, and you should use it more, which would be kind of awesome actually. But yeah. Susan says 2 more 65-meter skeins of the super bulky blanket yarn and her crochet blanket for the donation will be done. Oh, that's awesome. You might actually finish that during our live. Because if everything goes well, I'll be here for another like 2-ish hours. And I don't think I'll have my hat finished by then because we're just started on the second row. Seeing my pace here, I am being humbly honest. The conclusion is that I don't think we will finish. There is going to be a Spirograph Beanie part 3. We will have to do a Spirograph Beanie part 3, I'm afraid. We could also just, if I end up finishing, we can still do it just because I want to, but I'm having this very strong feeling that regardless, it will not finish. I do have a few other yarns I think could be absolutely awesome as well for the Spirograph Beanie. Like the Ice Magic Light, I think could be really nice for it too. And I have some cakes here and there that could be really working up nicely also. So 2 double crochets, and then we make a 2 double crochet together, and then we slant the front post double crochet a bit loosely. I'm still trying to find where is the start of this. It's here. No, it's not. Maybe I'm working faster than I thought I would. What I should do, probably, just to keep it easier for me, is to find a stitch marker and insert it in that very starting. It's here. It's right here. So that will be that one, 1, 2, 3. Is that the one? Yep. That will be around here. Oh, so we are halfway around. Daspada says it's true. Your English is very good. I'm currently living here in Denmark, but I am actually from Bulgaria, so totally understand what it is like living abroad far away from friends and family. It's really rough. It is really, really rough. Especially these days. You joined a bit late. I was informing earlier that my mom unfortunately is sick. So I will probably be going more often to Denmark the coming time because it's just more important to be with family in times like this. And we will have to see how and what, how often it's going to be flying, how often it's going to be driving back and forth. I've already said to my partner that we definitely need to find the time also just to go there as is, so he can join as well. But it's mainly going to be me going back and forth, which is totally logic reason. It would have been the same if it was opposite, if he lived in Denmark and his mother was sick. She is though doing very well, extremely well in fact, for her age. Like if I would be her age and be that fit as she is, I'm gonna be really, really happy. That would be on its own quite amazing. She is my mom-in-law is 38 years older than me. And she is fit. Like, we just moved her, and she's been active part of it, except for the tilting part of the heavy stuff. But she's been an active packing, and we also don't have to unpack for her, right? Because it's in the end also better she does it on her own. Because even if we could pack for her or unpack, it's better to do it yourself, because she's the one that has to find her things on a regular basis. And then it's much better to do your own unpacking. That's my opinion, at least. But yeah, it is during this period, I feel the distance to Denmark is very far. I will be honest. That is not a secret. Even though it's not longer than it's always been. It is from here to my parents would be a 9 to 9.5 hours drive. I will also have to take a ferry because they are on the main island. For those that's a bit familiar with geography, they are not. They are about an hour's drive from Copenhagen. I do have family in Copenhagen as well. And currently, the hospital my mother is admitted to would be in the city of Roskilde. And the hospital in Roskilde is 20 minutes walk from the hobby store. So obviously, I will probably be visiting the hobby store if I go there. Um, Thank you, Daspanis. She says sorry to hear my mom is in the hospital, and she's sending love and positive thoughts. I definitely need love and positive thoughts for sure. Absolutely. Um, Positive thoughts we can never have enough of, and that is the only thing I'll be hoping for, is for people to send some prayers, especially you know it seems unfair right now, but we need to keep positive thoughts in mind. And they're still trying to figure out how to treat it best possible, and then we will take it from there. I'll be there once we know how and whatever she needs. I'll be there for her, and she knows that too. She sometimes pops in and watch, but I think right now she's just probably resting at the hospital. And if she's watching, she'll let me know. Um, so yeah, it is a small little world. So, Dasparis, did you move to Denmark for family or work, or like I live here? Of course, my partner is Dutch, right? So, like, did you move for work or studying, or what was your reasoning for going to Denmark? It's a cold country, and given that you're from Bulgaria, I do actually have Bulgarian yarns in my stash, except you can't see it because it's all the way upstairs. I have some of the yarns from Pleta. I love those yarns. They're gorgeous. They have some amazing cakes at good prices as well. But for my life, I can't read it. Um, I will need the English side because Bulgarian uses a Cyrillic lettering system, right? So it's like trying to read Russian, which is also pretty impossible right now. Um, they don't use letters in the same way the rest of us do. um, it's like trying to read Chinese or something else. Good morning, Jay. You're not late. You're not late. You're just right on your time, right? You're just here when it fits you. grab something to drink, grab your project, sit down and have some social time with us. I've completed almost 2 rows, and given that I've done that in an hour, okay, valid, I'm not only crocheting, almost chit-chatting and having my breaks, so I will never be able to do it as quickly when I stream as I would if I'm just me crocheting. I think that is fair to say, to my speed, because now I just work even slower. But I have a feeling we will definitely have a Spirograph Beanie part 3. Because this is the 3rd row. This is how we're looking at the 3rd row. It's nice. It's landing nicely over. I like it. But looking at how much is gonna need to finish it, I have a feeling I'll be optimistic if I say it's gonna happen today. It's more likely, if anything, gonna be Wednesday. Then I don't even know. We will have to see. We agreed last week when we started on this that I will only be working on Spirograph Beanie when I'm live. So that is what we're doing right now. I can start thinking about what the next project could be. I have ideas, but at the same time I don't really want to make too many ideas because of the current situation. Well, that's cool. So it's a bit funny. I would almost say it would be an inside out beanie because it's like really folding up, right? But it's supposed to fold like this. That's not really happening yet. I shall be patient. Which I'm not, but I will do my best. I saw my physiotherapist this morning, and that was wonderful. I do the monthly checkup with my physio. That sounds a bit crazy. I intentionally see my physiotherapist once a month, and he gives me a good cracking, just like a chiropractor would. Except my physio is covered by my insurance, and he's allowed to do it because he's manually cracking it, so he's not doing it with the table and all that you would experience by a chiropractor. And that's really good for my neck. Like neck and back really needs a good crack once a month. Because once my neck is really stuck, then like if that happens for too much time, I'll start getting headaches. And I've just come to realize over time that if I treat myself to physiotherapy once a month, it's maintaining my flexibility of my body. Plus, I definitely have less of the tension headaches. That is then what I'm supposed to be doing. So I usually see him once every 4, maybe 5 weeks, everything depending. Let's see. So that's landed back to this one. This needs to land back here. So, but let's land back there. Okay, yeah, we have one to go. And then I can officially say that the second round of today has been completed. 1, 2, and then we have to do them together. Like that, and then we need a little bit more yarn. We slant down and pick it up. One more row complete. Nice. So look at this. I don't think we are at a stage where we can actually fit it yet, but let's just bring in Mr. Mannequin here. You should be able to see him, at least the top part of it, up in the small. Yeah, well, if I do like that one and do that one instead, do this. Sorry for the poor quality cam. It's just temporary. But this is how we're looking after 3 rows. We need quite a fair few more. Definitely quite a fair few more. But looking at how we are currently working up, I would say that it should be able to fit our mannequin, but I know that my mannequin is smaller headed than me. Shall I excuse it for the hair? Then thank you, Susan. Susan says it's looking great. I hope it is. I hope it is. But we still have a fair bit to go. Obviously. By all means, I'm not surprised. That would be the first double crochet stitch. So we just insert a stitch marker for me to have it an easier time for myself to keep track where the start is. So does Bunny say she loves Denmark? Moved here because of my partner, and yes, we do use Cyrillic, but it's not like Chinese. No, yeah, I know it's not. They're not the same, but for us, being used to the regular alphabet, it's. I don't know how your Danish is, but if I say Volapük, that would be the really, really good description of how I feel about it. And that's basically, it makes no sense if you're not used to, if you don't know how to understand them. That's like, if you can't read them. But that's just a question of not knowing what the individual signs mean. So apparently, Cyrillic only have 30 letters, which is not that difficult to learn if you don't know the Latin alphabet already. Well, that's good to know. The Danish alphabet has more letters than the English alphabet does as well. We have 28. We have 3 more letters than the regular alphabet, but they're actually just letters that otherwise would, like, it's to help writing, but its pronunciation wise the same as many others. So we have E, U, O, and the E is an A and an E, and the Ö is O and E, and the O is a double A. So so those letters has been incorporated in the Danish language to shorten down the text you write, because those combination of letters, so an AE or an OE or an double A after each other as vocals, occur quite often, and therefore those letters has been incorporated to help shortening down the text you write, basically. So I'll be a little bit helpful and do the chat version of these letters for you guys. So that would be the A, that would be the AE. Then we have the Ö, which is the OE. And then we have the O, which is basically a double A. For those being curious. Anything with that would be the same. There are letters we don't use very often, like the Z and the W. And in Sweden, they have similar lettering as well. They just use the umlaut, which they would say in Germany. I'm not sure if those two dots on top has a specific, but I do believe that the A with the two points on top would be the same as our A, and the O with the two dots on top would be the same as our Ö. But I'm not 100% sure. I will totally admit, but I'm sure our Swede can tell us. Because when she says the city she lives in, the O with the two points on top is definitely an U, how I would say the U. And of course, Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, we all, the language is very close to one another, so we can all, to some extent, understand what each other are saying when we talk in our native language. It's amazing how many of us move around because of finding love. Because if my partner one day would say to me that he no longer cares for me, I don't think that's going to be the case, but still, let's say it would happen that we grow apart or whatever. I'm not sure if I would stay here in the Netherlands. I would probably move back to Denmark because there's nothing else that would bind me here. Like, of course, I love the local club and so on, but I don't think I will stay there for that. I would likely move home because I would be closer to family. So he's generally the reason that I'm here. And I've been in the Netherlands for, well, I moved here in January 2009, which is like 16 years. I've been here for 16 years. And that, I think, my friends, is a much more scary thought. We usually congratulate each other for being able to stick with one another for this long. Like, I'm surprised you've been able to stand me for this long. It's usually what we say to one another. But yeah, at the same time, I guess I hope we grow old together. We have a good time together, and we will have to see what it all brings. Dun, dun, dun. Amanda, I still need to finish watching your live from last night, but did you finish your Asteria? Dust Bunny says Danish vowels are insane. You guys have something like 7 different vowel sounds. At least that's what we're learning in this pro-school. Oh, yeah. I don't think about it. That's the crazy part. And don't forget, we have like 4 different sounds of the letter D. We have the soft D, the hard D, the regular D, and the D you can't hear at all, the mute D. And and the same. So in some aspects, like I really like English for the simplicity of nouns. English, it's like it's an apple because apple starts with a vowel, right? And then it's an apple. House is starting with an H. That's not a vowel. It's a house. Love it. In Denmark, and the same for the Netherlands, by the way, you have een or it in Denmark. In the Netherlands, you have de of het, which is basically the same, and it's a neutral noun to put in front of your noun, like a or an, but there's no real rules to it. It's like figure it out by listening. It's learning by doing. So I can't tell you why it's named it hus in Danish. I just know it is because een hus sounds wrong. I cannot explain you why. So in that sense, Danish is insane. Yes. There is a lot of learning by doing. Um, and apparently, pronunciation of some Danish words becomes much better when you pronounce them as if you don't care. And that's all these funny vowel sounds. But yeah, it's so it's crazy when even the Danes can't explain you why we say certain things because there isn't really a rule for it, right? There's a rule for many things. So that's how an acting word, like for example, cleaning, how they get bent depending on if it's present past tense, so what tense it is. We have rules for that, but then at the same time, and that's the same for nouns also if they're plural or singular, etc., and if they're specific and non-specific. So we have a specific house and we have just a general house. Then we also have plural for specific houses and just a general many houses. Again, depending on what sentence we're talking about and what the subject is. And there are rules for that, but then there are a few words that's just not following those rules. Some of them are easy because they are always plural, such as the word for money. Money is always plural. So Amanda says she's not completely fully awake or something today. Well, it is Monday. You were up later than me last night. I went early to bed because I've had a very long weekend. Rehoming, moving stuff. That was a lot of moving. And guess what? The weather forecast had said that it would be dry Saturday. And when we woke up Saturday morning, it was raining. And it was raining until like 1 p.m. So that was a very wet experience rehoming. Yeah. But we finished a lot earlier than we had expected. So that was really nice. And now it's mainly just, putting the last things back on place and so on. And I can't do that for her. But we got all the big furnitures moved. She still needs to pick up a few painting, but valid. I noticed she only had like a bit more than 3 hours stream or something. I was a bit surprised, I guess. I need to go into this stitch. So I am getting used to this, so it is slowly going a bit quicker, I guess. Amanda, I can absolutely relate. My emotions have me drained quite a bit as well these days. It's just been a lot. Crocheting has also not been a priority. I have done a little, but far from as much as I normally would. And of course, I've been busy with, on top of all, I have also had this translation project for a customer. so I can put some bread and butter on the table, or at least just make a little bit of money. I would have earned more for my time when I did my old job, I guess. Well, that's not completely true. It's just because I haven't been able to focus. I've not been efficiently working either, because then I could have been done already if I really wanted to. But it's getting closer. Gonna have a good look at it for the rest of the bits tonight, and then send back and forth what's missing. If I can't find or cannot find, then take it from there. So we are working on the third round. Meanwhile, this yarn slowly gets used, and it's less sticky after we got past the beginning. I think it's also because that's been the outer edge, and it's been the squeezed more parts and rubbed against things and so on. So it's probably just been more prone to a bit sort of like felting, because it feels like this yarn could felt, but yet not completely. It's more like because of the fluff of the yarn, because it wouldn't felt to a dense fabric. But it's definitely fluffing together if you do effort to make it so. On Wednesday, I will also show you the plans I have for my car projects. Have any of you, by the way, ever been flying with crochet hooks? Because I need to bring hooks with me. And I need to consider if I put the crochet things in my, I have a checked in suitcase for when I'm traveling home in 3 weeks time, right? Actually, it's more like 2 weeks. It's more like 2 weeks. On Wednesday, it's 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks and I'm flying home. But I have never done it before. But it would be nice actually just to have a project to bring with me on the aircraft. Well, that's awesome. Have you done it? The fun thing is, so I did not. Sometimes I'm wondering if I should have. So when we flew to New Zealand, I didn't bring any crochet with me at all because I was like, I'm not going to have time for it, which I probably mostly likely didn't, but it would have been really nice for the long haul flights, especially. And when we were waiting in the airports, would have probably also been nice if we're just sitting somewhere. Yeah. I'd need a yarn cutter, not a scissor. Like the small blade ones. I also have those you use for threads for loosening clothes with. What are they called? You know, you could also use those to stab people with if you really wanted to. Not that I'm by any means a terrorist, but yeah, seam ripper, exactly. I have a seam ripper. Right here, in fact. like one of these. But you could use this one to stab people with if you really wanted to. Like point, point. And it's pointy. This is painful. It's maybe small enough for them not to think about it, but it is, I don't know. You wouldn't bring the fancy hooks. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I want it in the hand luggage. I have no issues putting scissors and stuff like that in. Um, yeah. If I'm going to be there for multiple weeks of a time, I might just bring X cakes and then pack them down in the suitcase. Um, Worst case scenario, I'll make a hook stash at my mom's place, or I have to check with her what type of hook she has. I could also just use hers. But I'd love to have something for in the aircraft at the airfield when I'm just waiting. But yeah, that would probably be better to have some less good hooks, or some hooks I can easily regain in the event they say, "No, lady, you're not gonna bring this with you on the craft." And if I have something with a cake, I'm probably not gonna need a scissor. Most likely not. Or maybe the foldable ones I have could work. Let me. I'll find the one I mean. Just give me a minute. Oh, the whole world crashes here next to me. All the way down here. I have one of these, which is like a foldable scissor. That might work. And I will need to use quite some force to use the pointy end of this. Optionally, I'll write and ask if they will allow me. I do have a plastic hook, but it's worthless. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I think I might have extra of these. So what I always could do is I could throw one in the carry-on because this one is like €1 or something like that. Might have an extra up there in my stash. I could put that in. And then it's not the best scissor, but it works. It's not as sharp as a regular scissor. That's kind of more my point. And then I could put scissors, an extra pair of scissors, just in my luggage. So I have iBooks, so I have both. I have my carry-on, but I also have an extra suitcase with me because I'm going to be there more than just a weekend. So I just can't oversee packing everything down in a very small bag and then also trying to not have more than 100 milliliters of liquids, blah blah blah. It's just too much for me. So I'm like, no, I'll fly with a suitcase because that's what I'm used to. And that is what I'm gonna be doing. I've been flying so much in my past, but I've never flown with crafting essentials. That will be a first for me. I've always been flying. That sounds crazy because so I'm a former athlete, right? I've been doing lots of shooting, and I've always flown everywhere with my rifle. Did security check-ins for like special check-ins, obviously because you're traveling with weapons, not an issue. And I'm sitting here worrying about traveling with the crochet hook. Um, I guess it helps if you can like show an active project you're working on, so they kind of see the purpose of it. I don't know. But I would definitely be crying out loud if if they would seize it. In the end, their ideas of, oh, let's try this one again. Need to crochet two together here. Their ideas of safety sometimes is crazy as well. I remember one of the first time I went on a flight, we used to have those agendas with the spiral binders, like one page for each day. And I used, like, I really, as a teenager, I plastered those pages over with everything. But I also used them to write down the homework we had for next following days, or what classes we had for specific days, etc. Right? And I brought that with me when we went traveling, so I had an idea of if I had to study specific homework while I was gone. And I was in the airport with a spiral binder, and they were like, "Sorry, lady, you are not allowed to bring this with you on your flight." And I was like, "What?" Apparently, their idea was that I could take out the spiral binder of my calendar, wrap it out, and punch people with it, because then it would be a pointy end. Like, what? Why? 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 Like, of course, yeah, I'm a person, and I like to kill people or something like that. No, I'm not. Like, why would I even go through that much effort? But yeah, that was also just not so far after the 7/11, 9/11, sorry, events in America. So it was, everybody was a bit more skeptical back then. But I've really had some crazy comments on. I ended up being allowed to bring my calendar with me because I was like, dude, I'm not gonna do that. It's my calendar. Like, look in it. It's filled with stuff. I'd be nuts if I do this. I think they ended up accepting that fact, and then I was good to go. But still, I still swear my best flight was in the jump seat. That was quite an experience. So the third round of this is almost complete. So my conclusion is that it takes me about half an hour to do a round, as long as I'm chit-chatting with you guys. And just sitting me crocheting, well, you would need some audio or some music or something like that. But the thing is, we have all these copyright claims and so on, so I cannot just play music, any kind of music, even though if I wouldn't mind. And don't forget to hydrate if you haven't done it yet. I do enjoy my tea as we get closer to the end of this round. But the benefits, at least, is if I go to the hobby store itself, I don't need to worry about how much I need to purchase for to get free shipping. If I'm just one skein short of something, I can just go down there and pick it up, which is nice. Obviously, I'd still want it on sale though. And I got knitting needles because I thought that would be a fun idea. Well, I need to do the two together, so oops, Daisy, like that. Yep. Maybe that is what I should do. Spend some time learning to knit a bit more if I'm home waiting. Who knows? We'll have to see. Everything depends. But I have a feeling I'm the one that's going to have to cook. My dad said he hadn't had any warm food since my mom went to the hospital. And somehow I'm just not surprised, and somehow I'm a little surprised because he should know how to do stuff. But I think part of it is also, I remember when I lived on my own, I didn't eat that much warm food either, unless I had people on visit or were visiting somebody, because making it for myself was just not a priority. And I guess it's also part of it, dinner is just more cozy if you have dinner together. Dinner alone is boring. Lots of efforts, extra things to make dirty, pots and pans. When I lived in Aarhus, on my own, I really just did a lot of sandwiches. Was easy on the go, which I was a lot back then. Can't exactly say that I'm missing it. um, but at the same time, sometimes I do. But I guess it's just because it was a younger me. Um, there are things that one misses from the past. But sometimes, as I said, I just think it was a younger, more fit, busy me. Good memories. Not that I complain about my life now. It's just different, right? Um, so the thing is, what I did notice is we don't get a whole round done before changing colors into something else. So we do slowly change color throughout the row. And then we need to double crochet together. And then I just need to pay attention for a minute to do that in the best way, like that. We need to slant it back. Oh, it dropped. Let's try again. Actually, I should just remove you. You're a little bit in the way now. I know we are at the end. Ta-ta! And then we need to work you in like that. Round complete. We now have a total of 4 rounds, but we still have a fair bit to go. What I would say is, I think we'll just keep going. Can do at least another 2 rounds, I think, maybe even 3. Then we'll give it a fit um, for this time before ending the live. But we have time to go. Definitely. have more time to go. So what I should do again is to make it easier for me to keep track at the stitch marker. Keep working for another good hour. Try not to yawn too much. I've been up early the last couple of days. I was early up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a little bit, not as early, but a bit early enough for the feeling of it. And today, because I had the appointment with my physio, which I usually do in the morning, and to make sure I don't sleep over, I get up before my partner, because if I do sleep over, then he can still wake me up. And then I'm in a rush to get showered before I have to get out of the door. So it just adds this extra. And actually, I did the same when I was working. I didn't have to get up before my partner because I was starting later than him and I had a shorter commute. But I essentially got up before because then I knew that should I sleep over, then I had this extra warning system. That aspect I don't miss at all about working, getting up earlier. Because the fact is that I am definitely far more a night person than I'm a morning person. But I also just can't stay up all night because obviously then I'll turn night into day. Which isn't good either. Maybe if I have time tomorrow, I should actually just sit down and get my poncho blocked, the two pieces, so I can prepare to sew them together. Maybe that is an idea. Please work. That's frozen. I'm not frozen, I hope. Am I frozen? Shouldn't be. I think we're going. So, Das Bunnies is asking me, how long have I been crocheting? That would depends. So on this, I've been crocheting since last week, Wednesday. Well, only doing the live. But how long have I been crocheting as in compared to how many years or how long time? I learned to crochet when I was, I don't know, 9, 10-ish years old. So that's probably like 30 years. But I learned just the bare basics, pure basics back then. And I didn't really do projects. And I kind of forgot all about crocheting again as a teenager. I didn't do much about it back then. So I didn't for many years. And then during COVID in 2022, I picked crocheting back up again. And here we are. So the knowledge of crochet I've had for 30 years, probably, maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit less, but more or less, give or take. But the actual current time I've been crocheting is about 3 years next month. And I started my World of Crochet as a vlog, diary thing for me to help keep track of the things I've done and made. And it's kind of just grown on me. I take it more and more serious. Yeah. So, yeah, good question. Good question. I am a quick learner, and I've been told by so many people that I'm good at teaching or explaining. So that is why I started doing tutorials. The first ones are not as good as the later ones. Again, that's also a learning by doing. Camera angles, all that stuff. I do have a few plans. I'm just not sure if I will have enough time to do it for March. So I've not really talked about it before knowing a bit more. I have this vague hope that I know more about my mother's situation at the end of this week. And that will also help me maybe being able to plan a few things. Thank you, Suzanne. I thought it was frozen because my one device that I kind of check the live feed on was frozen. So I was like, am I frozen? Or is it just my tablet that froze? And it appears just to have been the tablet. So I need to get around there. Post. Da, da, da. I'm also quite curious how much yarn I will have left once we are complete here. I should have more than enough yarn to finish it, but how much will I actually have left once we are done? I don't know. But that's as much because I don't know what to expect, actually. It's the first time I'm making it. It is the first time I'm using this yarn. But I do like how it's coloring up. And look at these nice slanted spirals here. It's gorgeous. It is really working up nicely. At least that's what I think. And I do apologize, you can actually not see that very well. I can see if I can get the yarn a bit more in photo, but so yeah, that is, I have not been crocheting that long actually. Looking at my current active time, and when I have struggling reading the pattern, I'll usually ask someone. First I normally ask would be my mom. Thank you. Yeah, it is turning out really beautifully. I really like this, the texture and how it's really looking and how the yarn is working up. It's really, really nice. It's just a patience project because it does take longer than the average beanie because it's DK weight yarn or 3 weight. And it's very simple. It's a simple repeat because it's like 2 double crochets, then it's 2 double crochets together, and then it's the slanted front post double crochet where you go back to, like, not in this but in the previous once you're this far in the pattern. So it is a quite simple repeat. It doesn't require lots of thinking. But it's definitely a patience project. Because I've been working for maybe 4 hours. Let's try not to calculate my salary, please. Let's say when we're supposed to sell this at some stage. Then it would be very expensive if I had to count in my actually desired salary. That's not gonna happen. I wish. Susan says it's a surprisingly nice beanie. Made 2, both donated to Rose Likes Crochet channel for homeless people. I may make another one for me. Yeah, it is a very nice beanie. And I think I'd be open. So what I want to do, because we talked about the sizing, and I still think it is turning out smaller than what would fit me. But then I would basically just, instead of starting out with 14, if you would start out with 15 or 16, it would automatically turn bigger because this is a 4-stitch repeat technically. 4/5 stitch repeat. So that's easy. And you get to those automatically by how you increase. And you do that regardless if you have 14 or if you have 15 or if you have 16. So that would be the best way to increase it in total because you would have more stitches and therefore the width should technically also increase automatically. Um, or the optional one would be to, but I don't think that would be the clever one, for the crown to extend by an extra stitch. That could one do too. So instead of having the 4 between, you could have done the 5, but then I don't think the slanted double crochet will work, the front post double crochet. Then you would probably have to do a front post treble instead for the length to make up for that. That could also maybe work. But as we all agreed, I am following the process as I were since last time on last live. And I will keep following the process and we will see how the fit is once I'm done. And if we feel it needs to be larger, I'll just have to test it by adding couple of more stitches. And I'm fine doing that. So I have a plan. And I guess if you have a plan, everything, it's just easier. You know what to follow. You don't need to think. You just follow your plan. Plans are made to be changed. But in the beginning, you don't need to think about it. So, and I am very curious how this is looking once we are done. That is one thing I can tell you for sure. So what I'll do is I'll finish this round and I'll do one more round and we'll find our friend, the black hat, testing hat. And see how the fit is going. One, two double crochets, then we double crochet two together. We'll make the stitch a bit looser by pulling up a bit more loop on the yarn. I'll make this slanted double. And the fun thing is how it looks underneath here, right? It looks like it's more like a ribbed thing, but it's not. It's funny. Looking on the back, it looks really nice too. I like it. I like it. It still wants to curve the wrong way. But that is probably just temporary. No way! You have to be kidding me. Look. The dreaded yarn knot. No. Oh, man. It's not the right color change either. It should be more like brownish. It looks pretty solid though. Yeah, this one absolutely stinks because look, color-wise, it's not even the right one. I get it. I get it that they happen, but why not at least matching the colors? So what am I gonna do? I could just see how it crochets over because I'm honestly not having the energy to fix this. And I don't know how much yarn it will be before it's correctly fixed either. And yeah, I'm just gonna see if we can actually somehow crochet over that knot and it can go on the inside. And if that's the case, we'll do. And if it's not the case, I'll frock those few stitches and I'll sew this in as a regular yarn end. Probably should do regardless actually. but it's pretty solid if I pull in it. So I'll first see if I can just crochet with it. And if I can't, I will frog the few and then I'll just weave in the ends. We'll have to see how that goes. No, that's going to be on the front side because this is where we have to do the slant. So that's not going to happen. Good, we know that. Then my curious mind says that we are gonna do some cutting and some sewing, because I'm not gonna have this knot on the front side where this lovely treble comes to sit. It's just not gonna happen. Like so. We'll cut the yarn into two. For crying out loud. We could just test how far it is to get back, because right now I'll be somewhere here at the light color and we are heading into that, so it could be that it's not too bad. Might just be a couple of meters. Feels longer though. This is the yarn so far. Oh, we are heading into more reds, but that's a fair way to go. I think that's a waste of yarn to attempt doing this with. So I'll just start working on it as a new piece and weave in this end. Okay. Then that is what we are going to be doing. What we could be doing then we do the two together. Somehow, when it's this variegated yarn, factory knots feels worse, because you're more likely to not have it right. Oh well. That is what it is. It would have been nicer if we could have gone to the place that was closer to what we were working with. But looking at how much yarn that would take me to get there, I guess I'm just sort of okay with it not. That's just not gonna be. We need to weave in these ends together at some stage. But I tend to keep ends like this for a row, just to make sure I don't make any mistakes and to make sure they're well crocheted in. It's probably going to be fine because the variegation are reasonably often. So I think we'll be fine. It's just me being disappointed because it's the dreaded factory knot. The dreaded factory knot. Every knitters and crocheters' worst nightmare. Not completely, but none of us really want to deal with them. Yeah, we are slowly getting closer to the end of this row. Or round, depending on what we should call it. Kind of the same, fundamentally. We're working in the round, and it's both a row and a round. We have the two together. Make the stitch a bit looser to get this slanted front post. Double. Two doubles. By the looks, we have 7 stitches to go of this round. So this is where it's time to remove the stitch marker to make it a little bit easier on me. Stitch marker does tend to sit in the way. I just like the stitch marker for me to quickly see how far I have to go still on the round, if that makes sense. Like that. And now we just have to slip stitch. That was this row. Nice. Well, I was one step too quick, not slip stitching yet. I forgot the slant to do. I almost skipped the front post. Almost. I was like, it looks funny, but now I know why. Now we can slip stitch. Much better. Much better. So I'll pull this out a bit. Look, you're almost getting hat vibes. But looking at this pace, I don't even think we'll be done on Wednesday unless I start early. I could, but look, nice. Like it. We'll do one more row and then we will find our black mannequin hat and test. I also have I'd like to get a real mannequin actually. A part of me think that would be really nice to showcase shawls and stuff like that. But I have a little bit of a rooming issue. I don't have that much room. Extra room in my home. I'd need to check a few things first if I get one. So we'll loosen this one a bit and we will go back, and that will be the one from the previous row, which funnily enough is only like 2 stitches ago. Technically it feels like. So 3-4 stitches ago, but still. That would be the next. We will do 2 doubles. And then the two doubles together. See, it's still a bit lighter here. And we're still not completely to where we should have ended, but we have already crocheted like almost half a round on a hat. So it's like throwing away a free round of yarn. That's just not going to happen. I think it's working up okay color-wise. Even though we had to do it. It's just annoying me that it wouldn't keep the flow. But that is not the fault of the yarn. That is not the fault of me. That is the fault of the factory, I guess. Or I was just unlucky to get the skein where it was in. Oop, that was not a full stitch. That's only a bit of it. That was better. We'll make a little bit more room for the slanted. Yeah, I've gotten into the pace here, I think. Realistically speaking, then I definitely won't finish today. And I'm not sure if I'll manage Wednesday either, but we will have to see. Unless I begin early on Wednesday. But I just don't believe in it. But that's fine. Then it has to wait for the following week, I guess. We may have to end doing the Spirograph Beanie Part 4. Currently, it's just Spirograph Beanie Part 2. Hello, Maritza. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well and had a great sleep last night. Here we are just chucking along on the beanie, stitch by stitch by stitch. So yeah, it was quite wet, and it is still quite wet. It's raining again now. I did get 3 plants actually, because when my mom-in-law moved to her new apartment, she would not have enough room to have all her plants with her. So she wanted to either throw them out or I could have them if I wanted to. And I said I'd love to have them. it was 3 orchids. So I got 3 new orchids. I placed one in my living room in the window, and then I placed 2 in our hall entranceway where I had some room. And they were also blooming, so that was really nice, of course. So yeah, I got some flowers as well because I was like, they're so gorgeous. I would find it such a waste if you would throw them out. So if you are gonna throw them out, please let me have them, and then I'll figure out a place for them. I don't know where yet, but I'll figure it out. um, so the 3 orchids in bloom moved in. She kept some really gorgeous ones herself. They were also blooming. Yeah, I am real living physical orchids. I can take some and show if you want me to, but they are not right here. They are like, I have some in my kitchen, which is over there. Then I have some in my living room over there. And then I would have some which is like directly out the door there in my entrance hall. The one behind me is not real. That is made of Lego because then it's so ever in bloom. And I loved it. And I did need to water it. I used to have a living one there, but then when they weren't flowering, I was like, nah, maybe something else. Um, Plus, the one I had standing there for I don't know how long, they wouldn't go back to bloom. They would like only finish blooming and then they would never go back to bloom because what day that spot is a bit too far away from daylight, and they do like daylight. Like they don't want sun, but they do want daylight. Um, so right now I have 3 orchids in my living room. I have 2 in my kitchen, and I have 3 in my hallway or entrance or whatever we should call it. Um, they are all placed in a place where they will get daylight. To some extent. Why can't I get this front post? Just a moment. There you are. So the one behind me is unfortunately not real. I actually built it from Lego. It's one of the Lego orchids from their botanical series, and I really love it because it's ever in bloom. So ever always. If that makes sense. So that is what's really nice about it. Susan says she went to an orchid show last weekend. Many beautiful flowers from many different orchid societies clubs, including New York Orchid Society. Oh, that sounds gorgeous. They actually have a place here in the Netherlands where like they grow the orchids, and they also have, I think they have like butterflies at the same place, and conure parrots. I'll need to see if I can actually find it. We've been there once, but that's like a couple of years ago, like before COVID. I water my orchids usually like once a week. I soak them in water actually. So I take the pot and I fill it to the brim and I let them stand for 15 to 20 minutes in that water. And then I empty the pots of water completely. That I usually do into my watering can to water the rest of my flowers in the home. And then they stand without water for a week and a half, and then the same goes back. Tulips are popular in the Netherlands. Well, yeah, well, they grow them here in the sense of for commercial purpose, right? I have some in my front yard. They are sprouting right now. So they're not in bloom, but they are sprouting, which is really, really nice. Um, and I don't know if you would go back in my YouTube channel and you would just go through my videos based on newest to oldest, and you go about a year back, 10 months to be exact, you will actually find a 7-minute video of me, of the impression that I had when I went to Keukenhof. Keukenhof is a big garden in the Netherlands that's displaying, among things, tulips, narcissus, spring flowers, and it's only open like 2 months every year in the spring when they flower, and then it closes down again. And the amount of gardeners they have employed to be able to do this is insane. It is gorgeous though. Um, and I made a 7-minute, 7.5 minute long video about that. Um, not much talking, more like just displaying with a bit of background music. If you like flowers, I would say give it a watch. I will have to say, when I did post that, I think I did lose 1 or 2 members because it wasn't crochet content. But I remember when I made it, people knew that we were going there, and they were like, "Oh, please do something with your experiences. Like, let us see, let us show it to us." So I did. So I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll survive if you don't want to see that." You can also just ignore that single video. That's not a reference to all of the content of my channel. We are doing good progress-wise. Oh, you could have very well. I don't know. I actually don't know who watched it, but I think it was a nice little summary of a bunch of flowers. Doo-doo-doo. We are getting closer here to the end. Still have a few repeats to go, but we are definitely more than 2/3 of the way, I think. We are almost at where we had to do this horrible join due to the dreaded factory knot. And here we go. The next bit of the repeat includes that, and once we crocheted over that, we can actually probably weave in those ends. But it could also be that I just save you for that, and then I'll weave in the end on my own. before continuing crocheting. So I'll do that between now and Wednesday. I think that's okay. That should be okay. Let's see, I just need to. So there's that one. There we have the two together. We have come over that piece, nice and smooth. We can go back here to continue. So I think I'll just, weave in those ends off camera. I think I'll do that. It's not super important for this, I think, to be shown. Unless you want to see me weave in ends, but I don't think it's that exciting. We'll better save the time and use it for just crocheting. But it is evident that we will not finish today, but we knew that. We knew that. The real question is if we will be able to finish on Wednesday. We'll have to see. We will have to see. If not, we will definitely finish next week. Even if I wouldn't have enough time to do more this week, I think. Maybe a little bit off camera, but there's so many things right now. Need to see how much I still need to handle with the translation, but that's gonna be tonight after dinner. So this round is almost complete. I'm almost inclined to say I can do another round. Oops. Which is probably true, but I'm not sure. But what I do in any case is we'll test how it's looking as we agreed about. And then once that's done, we'll go back to crocheting. And we will have to see how far I'll get. Now we have to do the two together. Like that. Then we loosen it a bit to do the slant. Oopsie daisy. Yes, like that. Then we'll slip stitch it into the start of the previous row. Ta-ta! Kindly look away from any ends pointing out here and there. It's looking good. But it does take a bit of time before it really gets shape. And even though it has a bit of stretch, I still don't think it's going to stretch to my head. What we are going to do is do this. I again apologize for the lesser quality camera. That is because that is the inbuilt one in my laptop, rather than the one I stream with is a fancy camera intended for streaming. So let's see. This, my friends, would be the current fit. I'll need to pull a little bit of yarn here so I can easier turn this friend around. Like this looks really nice. I really like how it's starting to show. And you can see here that it's a little bit broader here where I had to change on the repetition of the colors, but it's fine. It's working up nice. It's not too bad actually. So you were right. It does look good. But as you can see, we still have a fair few rows to go before we are at somewhere decent. We definitely still have a fair few rows to go. So what I'll do is I'll go back to our working camera and we will have a few more. At least we have a bit more time to crochet before I have to run to cook dinner. So we'll jump back. I'm happy with the progress, but I admit it's not progressing as quick as I had hoped it would. Totally admit. I had this baby dream, I guess, this small dream that I would be quicker. Fact is just I am not, and I guess, yeah, I don't know. I need to accept that I'm not as quick as, and of course, when I am live, I am in any case not as quick as when I just crochet on my own, because when I'm live, I also need to keep track of how the performance is going, um, how everything is basically. I need to keep track of the chats. I don't have somebody that's telling me into my ears who said what. I just need to actively keep track of it, which is fine. So what we will do is we will progress on it on Wednesday, depending on how and what. But I'm quite sure that we definitely won't finish this time around. Because I have maybe a half an hour to go, and I really have to get running. I could do that if I have time. I could consider that. Susan says it would be fine if I just work up some rows off the live and then we could finish it together. I could consider doing that. It depends on, well, it depends on work. And that would be the work I landed. If I get the time, I'll do it probably. And if not, then I won't. Um, I have a few things to do, and I'm not home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week, and therefore I need to make sure that a bunch of things is done before then. So if I do, then it's only if time has proven itself friendly to me, and else I'll see. 2 double crochets, 2 double crochets together, front post double crochet in the previous row to the right. One, two. So if you make beanies, or when you make beanies, do you like them with or without the fluffy ball fur-ish on top, or do you prefer them without? And if you're rewatching this live, feel free to put your answer in the comments down below. And my gratitude if you've gotten this far during the rewatch. But are you the type that think it's nice with some fur, fox fur, fluff on top of the beanie? Or are you more the type to keep them plain and simple? Susan says she does both, though mostly without. I don't even have any in stock actually, so I'd need to get some. That is for a future me, not right now. Mm. Could always hold on to my beanies until then, if I want to add it. But right now it just doesn't have priority to order them. Ah, yeah. That's also an option. Because it is pom-poms, right? If you have extra, if Susan says if she has extra yarns to use, she makes them up she makes up pom-poms, so she doesn't have yarn scraps, which is something I could also consider. Except some of them I do not have more yarn scraps of, so I wouldn't be able to do it. Then a fluffy one would probably be nicer. Would be my quick thought, at least. Oh, and we need to do the two together just before I finish the double crochet. I do have pom-pom makers, so I could definitely also option for that. That could definitely be an option. Not sure how this yarn will work up if you made them pom-poms out of this yarn. And I like the pom-poms you can get with them. It's like an elastic thing you can like pull through, and then you put them around the button or something like that to keep them in the beanie, because they are also removable, so you're not forced to do it. And that's also nice for those that's maybe not into pom-poms. Where if we make our own, they would more likely be sewn on. I don't even remember what my grandmother used to do. I don't think we could take them off. I think they were just sewn on. It's a very long time ago since I've had a hat from my grandmother. I'm not even sure if I can remember if I ever had one. She did make the most amazing gloves. And I used them for when I was playing in the snow. And she would, so I would basically take a pair on, and they would get soaking wet, and I would start getting cold hands, and I would go in and I would take a new pair of knitted gloves and put the old ones on the heating, and then I would go back in, etc. Yeah, exactly. So you can also remove them for laundering. I could actually take a look at Amazon and see if they would have any decent priced ones. They might have a bit quicker delivery than my alternative option. I need to have a look in any case, because I was debating on getting some circular knitting needles, the interchangeable ones, but in cubic form, because they should be nicer to your hands, better grip and so on. So that is something I've been debating on, but I've not gotten that far because I don't know yet if I really want to do a lot of knitting. I did get myself a pair of knitting needles, 8mm, so that will be definitely bulky yarn project. But we talked about that last time. For those that was with me last time, that is something that I've been considering. Let's see. One more here. And then we have the two together, a little bit loose, and the front post. Double, double, two double together. Oh, well, we might be able to finish this row, I think. Yes, also, that's a good point. Susan says if you do have a hobby account and you do have the hobby app downloaded, do not forget that the US Hobby Bingo starts in 12 minutes. I should actually just start it up soon, and that's also usually around the time when I would end this stream. Not necessarily because I always play the US Hobby Bingo, but that's just usually the time for when I slowly need to wrap up everything here and start cooking dinner. So I'm hoping that I can make this. I should be able to. I am realistic, but still, even being realistic, this should be possible. This should definitely be possible. But even if you don't win a bingo prize, you still get 3 points for the point store, which is nice, I think. Even if it's just a few points. Any 3 points is points. I will have an omelette for dinner. I do add some spinach to the omelette, and we will have some spring rolls, so it is a little bit easy, simple, plain dinner. So yeah, I'll just make a good omelette, and I add some creamy spinach to it to get some greens in it. It's been a while since we had omelette last, so and I was debating. And then if we did that, I was like, oh, then I don't need to do groceries before, like I can wait one more day. So I thought that was a genius idea. Because doing groceries is expensive. But what I definitely will do, I'll get these ends woven in for the next time. And I may do a few rounds if I have time. But I cannot guarantee. I will have to check up. Spinach is nice, and it's really nice if you add it to, like, egg is really good with spinach, so therefore an omelette is quite nice with spinach. So we add the spinach to the batter, the egg batter, before it's going on the pan. And that makes it looking a bit green, but it's quite delicious. Can recommend if you're in the mood to try something else one day. Dun, dun, dun. And then we will have the two together. loosening it a bit up so we can do the front post slanted. Two normal double crochets. Two together. Like that. Would actually be nice if we could finish it on Wednesday. That would be really nice timing. We will have to see. We'll have to see if I have enough time. If I do, I will work a bit more on it. Well, maybe finally having the time to watch something. And my friends, I was right. We should be able to finish this. Actually, this past few went pretty quick. That's nice. The last 4. There it was. And then we have to slant down and pick up this for a front post. And we need to slip stitch into this top. Ta-ta! We are complete. The round is complete. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And it's actually starting to look like a hat. I'll have to say. It's actively starting to look like a hat. I'm pretty happy. What do you think? This is where we had to do the color change. It's not too bad. It's not like a woolly, like we know because we know, but it's not super visible. I like it. It's turning out good. I still think it's a bit tight for me though. But we will see. What I will do is I will weave in those ends. Let's see, I will do this and then I'll do this and I'll get you back up here. So I will weave in those few ends here, those for the join. That I will definitely do before Wednesday, and if I have time, I may do a few rounds so we are closer to being able just to finish it. See if I can, if I have time, I'll try to get as far to where we just need, let's say, 1 or 2 more rows of these slanted and then at the edging or something like that. But it 100% depends on the time I have available on my hand. Yeah, it's a priority thing right now with the time I have available. But I do like it. It's definitely nice. Has an interesting texture also on the inside. It's not even looking too bad. Like if you just look at this, that's pretty nice actually. I like that. It's not too bad on the inside either. It is nice on the outside, yep, but it's not too bad on the inside. Definitely not unsatisfied. Absolutely not. Um, yeah, I think that was it. If you haven't done it yet, don't forget to open the hobby app for the hobby bingo if you do have the hobby app, because it is bingo time in just a few seconds. Well, not a few seconds, a few minutes actually. I am jumping on hobby myself right now, so I do not forget. And the reason I haven't gotten the pop-up here yet is because it's currently set as if I'm playing in Denmark, but I'm not. So hobby bingo is ready. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today. I will have Hobby Bingo playing in the background. If you are a member of Hobby, but don't forget to set it to being in an English-speaking country. So UK, US, Ireland, you should be able to join the bingo and get those free 25 points at least. And yeah, they start in a few minutes, so do that. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Same place here on YouTube. I'm going to say take care and happy crafting. Until see you again, it was absolutely wonderful to spend time with you, and thank you for hanging out with me. I did have a great and cozy time with you guys. Bye.